either one of these women could take the crown. So in my number one spot for the title of Miss Grand International, Miss Grand International final predictions. Please keep in mind that we very likely have different opinions, so my favorites are probably very different from your favorites, and that's okay. These are my top 15 for the crown. Before we get there, let's quickly touch on some notes. In the swimsuit competition, there were some very interesting performances, to say the least, and I always have to remind myself that Miss Grand International is a little bit more, I don't want to say out there, but certainly it's more, the girls do a lot more, whereas I'm used to having that Miss Universe mindset of a little bit more subtle. Basically, Miss Grand International is a little bit more exaggerated. The movements are more exaggerated. The women are blowing kisses. They're doing like this kind of thing. I saw people doing this. I saw people doing this and all kinds of different things that I personally would never ever do in a pageant, but hey, you know, to each their own. So I have to say, Colombia. I loved Colombia in the evening gown, but I did not like her swimsuit performance. Therefore, spoiler alert, I did not include Colombia in my final 15 predictions. I thought her swimsuit I thought it was just way too much. I didn't like all the shaking and the whatever she was doing. Not my cup of tea. Again, just because I wouldn't do it doesn't mean someone else can't do it. Vietnam, loved her, but I'm not gonna lie, I felt like she was a little bit too seductive. Like I felt like she was trying to seduce me, you know, with like the hair tussle and like, I think she did this or she did this. Into the final 15, I have my girl Canada. I really feel like Canada needed to step it up a little bit more with her overall performance, but I just love her as a person. I think she's amazing, sweet, kind. She's obviously beautiful. I would love to see her make it into the semifinals. Next up, I have Guatemala. I know there's a lot of people that have Guatemala listed as higher. I also loved her. There's a lot of girls that were like neck and neck. I have a few who to me are like far beyond, like way up at the top, and then everyone else is kind of like even playing field. Brazil for me could have been higher, but I don't know, there was just something I wasn't sure, but she looked amazing nonetheless. Another one of those women, Mexico. She's stunning, loved her gown performance, just not quite all the way to the top for me. Next I have Myanmar. I wanted to see Myanmar rise higher for me, but I think that maybe for Miss Grand International, she was a little bit holding back a little bit, whereas as I've mentioned, Miss Grand is Miss Grand. They like a bit more of that exaggerated look, the over-the-top poses, so I felt like Myanmar would have to give it a little bit more to be more in that Miss Grand kind of, I don't want to say caliber, but what they're looking for. Also, she may rise to the top 5, I have no idea. Now we're reaching into the top 10. You guys may disagree with me, I'm almost disagreeing with myself as I'm sharing this. In my 10th spot, I have Miss Panama. I know Miss Panama, I competed with her at Miss Supranational 2015. She really brought it for me. I was happily surprised to see her performance in swim and gown, and I know there were some people who thought her gown performance was a little over the top because there wasn't much to be had of her skirt, and she ripped that skirt off, so she was left with basically like a bodysuit. Everyone's different, everyone's opinion is different, but I thought she gave a beautiful performance. Now I have Miss Kenya. Beautiful performance. I thought she did amazingly well. She has a very like regal, sophisticated look. Love what she was bringing to Miss Grand International this year. Then we have one of my personal favorites that I want to put her higher on my list. That's Miss Peru. Miss Peru, to me, I so badly wanted to put her into my top 5, but you know what? Her swimsuit performance just wasn't there for me. It just wasn't quite there. I would have loved to see more from her in the swimsuit performance. I was really rooting for her. I'm still rooting for her. Honestly, you guys, you never know. She could bring it on the final night and rise to the top. She could win the crown of Miss Grand International. Now I have Miss Thailand. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I kind of feel like, say, Peru should be higher than Thailand, but I've tried to just give like an overall from what I've seen from, say, Thailand in all of the events and everything, and I felt like she did really well and showed up for Thailand in all of the events exceptionally well, so that's why she's in this spot on my list. Again, like I could put Peru higher, I could put Guatemala. It's so tough to say. Next I have Argentina. Argentina has been an amazing surprise because some of you know that Argentina represented Argentina at Miss Universe 2019, so I actually saw her in real life at Miss Universe when Leighton and Lily and I were there. We saw her in the prelims and she made a major transformation for me. Love her hair, love the gown choices. I remember when she came out at Miss Universe in the, I think it was like a fuchsia gown that she wore, and to me it was very dated. I love what she brought to the Miss Grand International stage. I could definitely see her rising to the top of Miss Grand, hopefully top 5. That would be amazing for her, but I thought she gave a beautiful performance. A major fan favorite is Miss Czech Republic. I would have put Miss Czech Republic higher. She's right now in my 5th spot in my top 5, but in her, in her gown performance, she had a bit of a slip. Normally, I would say this is no problem, she recovered well, all is good, but we did see that whole statement from the president of Miss Grand saying something like, if a girl slips and makes like any sort of mistake, she will not win the crown. So I don't know how to take that. So anyway, take it for what it is. Next I have USA. USA to me completely embodies the Miss Grand International vibe. She was like kind of dancing in the swim. This is definitely, again, not something that like I would do, but she was doing it so confidently that I was believing in this performance. Like, she performed, she showed up, she was performing, she was bringing everything she had. And next I have Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico gave such a beautiful performance. Her swim was absolutely stunning. Gown was stunning. The looks on her faces, I thought she was amazing. Now we're down to my final 2. For me, I think either one of these women could take the crown, and I honestly think that one of them is going to. I mean, who knows for sure, but from every single styling that I've seen of them, every single photo, every performance, every single thing I've seen from these women, I have absolutely loved. I have in my number 2 spot, Indonesia. Indonesia has absolutely killed it for me. Her gown, actually, this reminds me of her gown. Her gown reminds me of this shirt. But when she came out, I was like, oh my God, because this is a color, it was kind of like, yeah, lilac-y purple that you don't usually see at a pageant. We're used to seeing gold, silver, red, blue. But this kind of purpley lilac, she killed it. Don't worry, Lily is with Brennan. I thought Indonesia has been doing so well throughout the entire competition, so I would love to see her rise to the top, if not win the title of Miss Grand International. Now in my number 1 spot, it should probably be no surprise, Samantha and I have followed each other for a while. So in my number 1 spot for the title of Miss Grand International, my personal favorite and the one who I honestly think has everything it takes to win the crown is Miss Philippines. She has given an absolutely flawless performance in my opinion. What really did it for me was seeing her gown performance. I know there's some people who are comparing it to Catriona Gray's performance, but honestly to me this was uniquely her. The color of her gown, the way she looked, I felt like she has never looked better, and I could easily see the Miss Grand International crown sitting on her head. Like I said, in every single event she has showed up looking absolutely amazing. She is looking like she already has the title of Miss Grand International, so I would not be surprised to see her on the final night, which I guess is actually tonight, wearing that crown, wearing the sash, and being the winner of Miss Grand International. Anything could happen. Maybe she'll make it into the semifinals and not even make it into the top 5. Who knows for sure, but from my perspective, if I were judging, I would absolutely have her in the top 5, if not potentially winning the whole thing. I wish I could talk about every single girl, but I wanted to make sure I highlighted my favorites. So let me know, who is your favorite to win the crown of Miss Grand International? Is it going to be one of my favorites? Do you have a completely different list? I would love to hear from you guys, so make sure you let me know in the comments who is your favorite. Like this video, subscribe if you want to see more from me. Miss Universe season is just around the corner, and I will see you guys in my next video.